Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our podcast Web3 and Chill. Today we have Timothy with us, who has got his hands dirty in the Web3 educational and gaming space. Hi Timothy,
Hi everyone.
welcome to the podcast. And it's me, Aayush and Vishal, your hosts for today again. Sorry that you have to still see our boring faces. So Timothy, what's happening? Or can we just call you Tim if that's fine?
Yeah, team is fine.
Yeah.
My acronym in the Web3 space is Team Web3. So you can find me everywhere online as Team Web3. I also own my own ENS domain, teamweb3.eth.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
so because you said that, what is an ENS domain?
So the ENS domain, it's basically an identity on chain. And that is usually tied to a wallet. And it's also in more and more websites, you can also use that to actually log in and interact with different experiences. But the main thing that it does today is kind of tying that to a crypto wallet where you have your NFTs of your crypto. And basically, if I have to be paid by a client, for example, and they ask me, what's your wallet? I just tell them my wallet is teamweb3.eth. You can just send money there instead of giving them a very long address that is very hard to read.
Got it. Is it a good idea to buy such domains and then sell it to people who want it, like what people did with the .com
So
thing?
I think, buying it for yourself, I would say it's more a vanity move. It's kind of really to, maybe explain, like if you have a ENS domain, it kind of tells people, oh, okay, he understands at least what's Web3 and, why he has his domain. So from a personal point of view, it's not a must, it's a nice to have. From a brand point of view, it's a must. So, a lot of people have acquired the ENS domain of like big brands like Puma or Under Armour or Hermes. And these brands had to reacquire this ENS domain to make sure that just people don't do bad things with them. So it's more a protective move, the same way that you don't want people to buy your .com domain if you have a business. It's very dangerous. People can put out, fake website and scam people out of money. The same thing happens now with these Web3 domains. So I would say, I would always tell brands, even they're not in the Web3 space, I would tell them, hey, let me just at least secure your Web3 domains. You just store them there. It doesn't cost much. And at least they're not going to get, a bad reputation just for not securing those.
Got it, great. So now changing slightly the gear. So we wanted to understand how your journey started into Web3 and what was your eureka moment or first moment of truth on Web3 that motivated you to get deeper into this new and exciting domain.
Yes, thanks. So I think for me, it happened pretty fast. So I've been in the corporate world for almost 20 years now. I had, many different jobs in marketing, a media agency. I had an in-house role in a luxury hotel company. I was global head of digital. But I was never like a crypto guy, like I was not one of these guys. I did have a digital wallet just as an experience, but I was really not, trading and into crypto. And what happened was kind of, I would say by luck, the summer of 2021, I was having a coffee catch up with a guy in a creative agency, and I just spent 2 weeks in quarantine in a hotel room in Hong Kong. So I had a lot of time to read. And I also wanted to maybe sell my photography as NFT. So I was just like, hearing a lot about this. And this guy told me, oh, there is an NFT exhibition in Hong Kong. And right away, I went there. I just purchased an NFT. I discovered Discord and then went into communities. And my mind just like, I was like blown away, because as a marketer, doing a lot of cold emails, communication, doing a lot of display advertising, creating a lot of social media content, always being a one-way street, right? You're always pushing content on people. And when I discovered the NFT community, I was like, wow, this is how marketing should become. This is how the community aspect that every brand has been talking about for years and decades, but actually they talk about it, but they're not really doing it. And I was like, okay, this is it. Like this new way of interaction, I mean, it's not only NFT, right? It's more like the Web3 space, DAOs, getting like brands to co-create content with people, get people to vote, get people engaged on a daily basis. Like that's what really blew my mind. And from summer 2021 to April of 2022, I really was kind of, side hustling on a lot of different things. I was very active in a few WhatsApp groups in Hong Kong. We created the Hong Kong NFT Association. I was in a lot of traders group. I did do trading, and I was kind of an NFT degen for a while, which I stopped now. I also started to work on a project, a sports NFT project for the gold medalist Chong Kalong in Hong Kong, who is like the David Beckham of Hong Kong. He's like, he won a gold medal, hasn't happened for 25 years in Hong Kong. So I was like very active in the space. And at some point, people in my circle of chief marketing officers, marketing people, CEOs in Hong Kong and beyond started to call me and say, hey, can we grab a drink? Like, can you explain to me what's going on? What's Web3? What's NFT? Like, I see you post all these things on your Facebook, your Instagram. Like, what is it about? And so I started to educate my friends who wanted to learn about it. And at some point, brands were also contacting me and say, hey, can you come talk and coach our marketing team and talk about this? And at some point I asked them, well, will you pay me for it? Is there like, what's the value of me doing this for you? And so basically the day I left Rosewood Hotels, which was my previous company, the next Monday, my company was already incorporated back then. The next Monday I announced it on LinkedIn, and I was like, okay, let's go full time into this. Let's see what happens. And so since then, I've been working for different brands. I've been doing some education for traditional brands. I've been working with Web3 startups to actually, coach them about like what's in a brand, how to organize the marketing, how to scale up. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. I've been doing a ton of different things in 10 months. Feels like 10 years.
No, it sounds very exciting, and I think your love for NFT is very much evident. Do you own any blue chip NFT?
Unfortunately, I do not. I was very good at not minting the blue chips. I don't know why, but I was never a very good trader. But I would say my community at heart, where I'm very active, is Llamaverse. So it's not a blue chip yet, but it's a very strong community of degens, traders, and people learning about marketing in the space.
Got it. Generally, I used to have this FOMO that I missed the bus to buy a blue chip when it was really low and now it's expensive. What are your feelings? Do you have a FOMO, or do you feel that it's okay that you missed because you can build something, or it's okay for someone who is interested and have missed the bus?
So I think the blue chips, what I feel about it is not that I want to get one, but I really want to work with them. So I'm very lucky. I work for Darewise, which is a subsidiary of Animoca Brands, right? And Animoca Brands is also an investor in many of these blue chips. We partner with Cool Cats. They also invested in Yuga Labs. So I guess at this stage, what I really want to do is to maybe be more of an insider and like actually work with these people.
Okay.
I don't need to own them, it's not a big deal. But I really want to be part of their ecosystem. So buying an NFT is one way, I think, of being part of their ecosystem. But there are many other ways to be part of their ecosystem, right? Maybe you can still be active in the community. Maybe you can try to work with them, build partnerships, which is what we're doing. So if you look at Life Beyond, actually, we just released a video where we have a Bored Ape as an avatar that can play our game. And that's something that we've been discussing, with the apes directly. And so, yeah, but I don't think I'll ever FOMO in to spend that much money into the ecosystem. But I think I still have a short list. I have a short list of a couple of NFTs I'd like to buy.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the space, that things are truly decentralized. If someone is owning a board, if they can create a brand and they can partner, and it can be truly everywhere with equal ownership. Now there is no single person or authority who is governing the brand. I believe that is the good part of it, but I think the gray area is on brand safety. So what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
brand safety
exactly.
in this domain?
Yeah, exactly. And so, for example, when we did this fencing NFT collection in Hong Kong, one of our advisor was the president of the Elite Apes of Hong Kong. So it's kind of a community of all the bored apes of Hong Kong. There are about 100 people. And these guys actually were very active in our Discord. They purchased a lot of our NFTs. And we even did some cool, we used an ape wearing like a fencing outfit, like fighting our athlete, right? So I think, like you said, things can be used in many different ways. It's not about checking the floor price every day, right? It's about checking what people do with their NFTs.
Tim, earlier in the podcast, you mentioned that communities are the way that companies should go about marketing. What should companies do to get the community aspect right? What are the best examples for community and how to engage the audience or the customers inside a community?
So I think the first step is people owning brands and marketing have to come to a realization that it is time to move on and not to be the only owner of your brand, because people are out there buying your products, experiencing your products, creating a lot more content than you as a brand can ever do. So first, they really have to realize that. Then when they realize that, when they start to create community, I would say the easiest path is either around co-creation of product or co-creation of content. So these are kind of the easiest entry point before doing things that could be, a lot more sophisticated on what you can do with a community. But the easy part, that we can see, for example, with Nike, and so Nike has actually a lot of communities. They're in Roblox with Nike Land. They have Clonex with Discord, and they're very active there. And they even have other things. But for example, with the Clonex community, they managed to, they acquired Artifact, which is, a digital wearable company. And by doing that and adding kind of a Nike spirit on top, they managed to have a community of designers, graphic designers, artists, Nike fans that is producing so much content for them. And so if you are a little bit into the Nike digital world, a lot of the content that comes out was not paid and created by Nike. It was created by individual creators who want to be noticed and who want to somehow, be part of the community. So, first, come to a realization. Second, think about co-creation of content, co-creation of products. It's kind of an easy way. The last part about the community, I think, is about listening. right? So for big brands that are maybe in the luxury space or even in the, let's say, the car business, why not create a community where you just listen to what people are saying about your products. Brands are spending a ton of money on market research every year. I would say take some of that money and start to run a community and see what happens, but you have to be ready that, it's a 24/7 job, and there are always things that are going to go wrong, but that's okay.
Where are
I have
these
a question more on the
opportunities,
technicality.
Vishal?
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No, I had a question more on the technicalities. So, Tim, how do you differentiate between what today the brands do on consumer research, like any activity they do on a focus group or anything that they do on social media data or sentiment analysis, how that can be fundamentally different from doing this, the same understanding of the consumer or user through a community? I just wanted to understand the difference of this at a fundamental level, or
Yeah,
what
and
incremental.
yeah, and you're right. There is a difference. They're not mutually exclusive, right? I think
Yeah.
what you do with focus group and social listening, those are things that most of the time, I have to say, are just here to validate some assumptions you already have internally.
Okay.
Or at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
most of the customer research I've been involved in the last 20 years
that's true.
were very often, directed in a way that you want to validate assumptions. You're
Yeah,
not that open to really new, bold ideas. The
yeah,
interesting part about the community aspect, well, first, doing it digitally and through a community that is global is a lot more interesting than just doing it per market, right? And this new type of community that is kind of Web3 savvy into the digital world, virtual world, the range of people is actually very wide. Age is very wide. Even if you have more Gen Z, you still have people that are much older. You have people coming from a lot of different backgrounds. And you also can gather a community of people that are hardcore fans or some people that are less fans. But these hardcore fans, actually, they're very often not included in traditional customer research. They're not in the focus groups. They're not necessarily the one talking about your brand on social media all the time. Maybe some of them are not even on social media, or people like their privacy now. They don't want to be tracked. And so these hardcore fan groups have knowledge about the brand, the products, that sometimes they have more knowledge than employees working for these brands. And that's very interesting. And so if you can build a community, let's say, Prada, for example, launched a few collections through NFTs. They did make a bit of money, but the value of an NFT for Prada right now is not that much. But if you go into their Discord, actually you have a lot of Prada hardcore fans that are there, and you can really kind of follow them, how they talk about the brand, get inspired from that. And this is like basically live research 24/7. And if you have the brand people looking at that, I think it can really feed an interesting messaging. And if you also, for example, I can talk about this for hours, but just one example, you see a lot of bad campaigns being launched by luxury brands with a lot of backlash. I don't know if you've seen the Balenciaga advertising campaign, for example, with the kids wearing
I have
fetishes,
heard about
right?
that.
Oh
It
my
got
God.
backlash a lot.
Yeah, how terrible was that, right? Like such. So imagine you have these communities that are kind of working with you, like test field some of these things with them before you go public and really get their reaction. I think that's also what brands need to think of now, because
No, I think that would be a great idea, because then these people would be the first advocate for your brand, and
yes,
then things
That's the act
follow.
as a test group. Like you can really test your product or your campaign or whatever.
yeah, and I think people forget to just test their products or their campaigns anymore. This used to be a standard procedure, and now people just don't do it, and it's just terrible. So maybe Web3 can be a way also to kind of have more insights before launching products, before launching campaigns, to have this, and you can get feedback very fast. You don't need to launch a 3 months process.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned that you also train executives and companies about Web3. What do you think most of these companies are getting wrong about Web3 these days? And how should they go about getting it right?
Well, I think, I mean, first, most companies getting it wrong, it's the people that are not doing anything, right? So things will catch up eventually, and you're going to get people that are going to be pushed out of their job very quickly if they don't react. So first, not doing anything is really the problem. The people, of the brands doing it wrong. I mean, I have my own opinion about different brands, about what they might do wrong, but I would say be more inclusive of the existing NFT community. Even the people like buying NFTs and being very speculative, and these people can trash talk a lot on Twitter and things like that. So maybe just be a little bit more mindful of that. And yeah, I think at this stage, don't try to make money. 2021 was the year where brands could launch things and like just sell for a big amount of money. But you saw that. So I have an example. I think it was Skoda, or maybe another brand. I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but they wanted to sell a car through an NFT at an auction, and the car was like $90,000 first, and that nobody bought, not even one bit. Like that was just a bad trial. Like people say they want to try and learn, but if you want to do something Web3, something NFT, you do need a creative concept that is different from what you do in the real world. So what I loved about luxury brands, most of them went into this through the charity angle. I mean, nobody's going to blame you if you get something wrong, but you're raising money for charity, right? I mean, so I would say that's the safest way to go into it, like go through charity. If you want to sell, physical items through NFT, that's feasible, but you really need to add additional experiences on top of it, right? So I mean, again, it's very hard to actually describe what people are doing wrong, but I would say just be open and have people who can help you to navigate the community of existing Web3 communities. Some people just do the same thing that they do in Web2 in Web3, like there's no point.
Yeah, okay, got it. Switching gears a little bit, you also have a very good experience in Web3 gaming. Why do we need Web3 gaming when there's Web2, right? You have your Fortnites or GTAs of the world.
Yes. So and again, I like to look at things at a micro level and a macro level always. At a micro level, there are two industries in the world that are massive. One is the gaming industry. So the gaming industry globally is the #1 entertainment industry in the world. It's bigger than the movie industry, bigger than sports, bigger than anything you can think about. It's gaming. And the second one is the advertising industry, because that has a lot of money there, right? But going back to gaming, I think it's kind of in gaming, people spend a lot of money in game to improve their experiences. You have, and at any age, kids spend money, millennials, older people have spent a lot of money in their lifetime into gaming. And that money is used on the day to play, but they don't own their assets. And I think the idea of ownership in game just makes total sense. Think about the kids. If you talk to a 12-year-old kids today, they probably spend some time in Roblox, and they're asking money to their parents to buy digital skins, digital wearable, to look cool, talk about it with their friends. But if they had the option to transfer that to a friend, gift it to a girlfriend, or sell it, they would. They would. So as much as a lot of gamers say, don't build NFTs into all the games, I think the ownership aspect and the fact you can buy, sell, trade them will be there. Even the Fortnite, even the other games, they're just not going to call it NFT, but this aspect of digital ownership seems to be a no-brainer to me. And so now the problem is you don't have a lot of good Web3 games, or you pretty much don't have any good Web3 games right now. So it's either going to be good Web2 games that are going to shift gear, or you have to wait, I think, a little bit for Web3 games to be really, really at the level where it needs to be for mainstream to kind of pay attention to it. So Life Beyond, the company I work for, that belongs to Animoca Brands. I mean, we have a multi-year roadmap, right? Like building a AAA MMORPG game takes years. Even Fortnite, they say they're still in beta, right? So our game will take years to build to get to that level. But again, think 10 years from now, everything will be owned, and everything will be a digital asset in game. That's a no-brainer.
Got it. On that, I think today a lot of people or young people spend time on Roblox, and I think yesterday Roblox launched the generative AI in gaming, the first ever. And it's a matter of time, even Unreal Engine will drop it. How do you think that is going to transform the entire gaming ecosystem from studio driven to more like creators economy?
That's a tough one. and I have to say, I'm very new to the gaming industry myself. So I think, I'd rather not answer something I don't really master. But I think the interesting part that these companies are doing, they're becoming more and more open. And that's, I think for me, that's also one way for these games to go into a more decentralized future. So, forget about NFTs for a while. Maybe the future of Roblox is just to be a full open platform, where people can use AI to build whatever they want, create their own game, and maybe generate their own economy themselves. So it's also becoming like a creator economy where, Roblox is there to empower people to build things. And I think that's what the Sandbox is doing. From day one, they've always talked about this is a creator economy game. We are a platform. Actually, Life Beyond is the same thing. We will do the heavy lifting for the next few years, because you need to build these frameworks where after creators can come in and then build. But Roblox is there. Roblox is way ahead of the game, and now they're opening their games, and I think that's amazing.
I think it will translate into what real world is happening. Like today in the real world, government is regulating things, and maybe I am investing some money, opening a shop, then generating money out of it. I think that maybe slightly translate into the digital world in maybe 10 years. That I think that is where we are going slowly.
And I think we have to think about human behaviors a lot here as well. And people tend to forget, people always look at companies and brands and what they're building, and they forget to think about the human behavior for a while. A lot of people rather stay home, work on their computer all day, instead of going to work at the supermarket. So the more options these people have to generate money with a computer, the more solutions and the more the industry will grow towards that. Because it's not always, companies building things for customers. Like they're gonna have to shift to please what the customers want. And we underestimate the amount of people in their office, in their garage, who just want to stay there all day. And that's such a massive market, whether you like it or not. Again, like
That's a very
I was
good insight.
I was giving a training the other day, and I think there were a lot of mothers in the attendance, and they were listening to me talking about this, and they were like, "Oh my God, where is the world going? This is terrible for our children, this and that." And I'm like, listen, you have two ways to look at this. Either you're going to fight it and it's going to create a lot of tension with your kids, I mean, literally, or just embrace it and just try to put their mind to good use and to do good things. Because I think why I love Web3, and also, it's very early stage, there's so much potential to do great things with the digital world into gaming and different things. So hopefully, we get people to do that.
Got it.
I mean, one question here. For example, let's talk about Fortnite. Gamers buy their skin, or they buy, they mostly buy skins and not skills in the game. What does a company like Epic Game has in it for themselves if people could trade some artifacts? Let's say, for example, let's just talk about skins, or they could use their skin from, let's say, a Fortnite to a GTA. What's in it?
So again, I'm kind of going back to human behavior. Why would you buy a Louis Vuitton jacket and wear it in the street? It's pure. Yeah, street cred, vanity, showing off, a feeling of belonging, a feeling of identity. And I think the idea of being able to have interoperability between games, and really for people to own their identity, is just a good feeling. I think where people can create their own, avatars or skins, maybe even build gaming abilities on top of it, and also show off the fact that they can create themselves. I just, this is the open economy of gaming, and this is also allowing people to feel more involved into the game, instead of just what is available today in the store. So I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. I think it's going to be very meticulous. It's going to be small launches, maybe in different markets, different parts of a game, and it's going to be a very long journey. So I sound like it's easy. No, it's not. It's going to be like a decade worth of trials and errors, but we're going to land somewhere where people are going to care as much as their digital identity as they care as their physical identity.
Would you know of any AAA titles that are working on interportability or are open to this concept?
So on paper, a lot of people are kind of open to interoperability, but from what I know, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So I think, right now, when people are going to tell you, yeah, you can use your avatar and go from the other side to life beyond, and then the sandbox, and then this and that, actually, it's basically all these games creating a different avatar that looks similar, right? It's actually not interoperable. You don't have like one file that gets then translated into 10 avatars in 10 games. So I think we're still gonna do this manually for a while. The tech is not there, but
I think Ready Player Me is a company which is working towards this. They are not yet there, but I think that is a vision.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I mean, Ready Player Me is doing great. They've been working with so many brands, so many metaverses. They're talking with a lot of metaverses at Animoca as well. And so, yeah, I think at some point, even avatar company becomes the avatar company in the world. like these guys are going to be the new Facebook, right? The new Meta, for sure. I mean, Meta tried to do this, but I don't think they're going to succeed. So, you know, I just saw today again on my phone, like they want me to create my avatar in WhatsApp now. I'm like, I'm not going to create an avatar in WhatsApp. Like these graphics are terrible.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of negative PR around the Meta company, so people are like, we don't want to pay you anymore because you have already monetized our data so much. And
Did
now
you
I
see
think
what they
today they
just
have
launched? They launched like
the
a Meta
subscription
verified. Oh my God.
verification in Australia and New Zealand. It came in today in the morning. I think $11. I think people are more drawn out of the platform because of all of this. Because first you monetize my data, you become a billionaire. Now you are asking me for more money. I think.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I mean, I as a user don't feel more connected to Meta as a brand now. I feel
I have a question for you guys actually. Why do you think Meta changed their names, changed the company
I think
name?
no, I think they just wanted to be relevant because I think they foresee metaverse as a concept coming and booming. They wanted to be the first person who become the brand synonym to that. I think
So
that is why they
I
changed.
have a different theory. My theory is that they realized that the Web2 advertising dollars and the money they're making from advertising has reached a peak. The display advertising, the amount of advertising we get on our Facebook feed, Instagram, you know, Reels, all that stuff. Everybody is, or at least everybody I know, is bored about this,
Yeah,
upset about this. And I think they changed to Meta because they see the metaverse as their future way of making money.
yeah, yeah.
And they think they realize that the advertising formats that you have today won't be here 20 years from now.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
No,
And
that's
that's
true.
why, and I think that's why they changed to Meta. It was very poorly done, but I think that's where they're going. I don't know where they will be in 20 years, but the Web2 advertising business is going to be completely revolutionized with
I completely agree.
metaverse, with AI stuff now competing with Google search, you know, all this stuff.
Yeah,
And
search is already going down.
it's going to
So
be
AI and
fascinating.
also social search are trending more than Google search. Search is already going down, and we can see the trend going to display advertising and video also.
And you
And
know,
yeah, I
me,
think
I was never like a visionary, futuristic kind of guy. Like I mean, you know, I tend to think about things the next 3 years, but somehow this Web3 thing, it just it just clicked, you know, in my brain, and I'm like, advertising, yeah, 10 years from now will look completely different. Metaverse gaming, like the things we can do on our phones 5 years from now will be completely different. Like this is really an inflection point, you know.
yeah.
Reid Hoffman also. Reid Hoffman is the co-founder of PayPal, LinkedIn. I invite
Mhm.
all the listeners to look at his post on LinkedIn where he talked about the inflection point that is happening this year.
Got it. No, I
And
think brands will move away from advertising to more native and more community. I think that is where things will move. It will move into more organic, where people like a brand for being genuine versus pushing an ad 24/7.
exactly, totally agreed.
In 2020, I mean, you spoke about inflection point. In terms of gaming, you mentioned, yeah, hey, there's a long way to go. It's still 5, 10 years. We see stuff like interportability, etc. Do you see any visible change for the users in 23? Do you see more adoption of crypto games or some big moves by AAA titles?
I think there's going to be, so I think from the AAA titles, you're going to see a lot of like big announcements, right? So you can see, for example, what you mentioned about Roblox announcing this open generative AI for people to build on land. Like this is amazing. So I think you're going to see a lot of big announcements from AAA games. Doesn't mean that things work already now,
Mhm.
but I think in 2023 we're going to see enough information from the market to understand where this is going to go in the next couple of years. That's I think from the Web2 gaming industry, because they have been forced to react. So some of them already reacted last year, right, saying, oh, we're never going to have NFT, but now people change their mind. So I think 2023 is going to be the year where people have to be clear about, okay, what's next. Now in the Web3 gaming space, crypto gaming, people talked a lot about the what's the name? Dookie Dash from Yuga Labs, how they released this game, and even it's a simple game, they had actually a lot of users and a lot of buzz around it. I think you're going to see more and more these kind of small games that are fun to play, that maybe are only live for a couple of months. You can get rewarded, play to earn, these kind of things. I think the crypto gaming company, they need to show something this year. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to sell for 5 million of NFTs. I'm going to build a game. The game is going to be ready in 3 years, which is usually how long it takes to build a game, at least. I think people that want to remain in the Web3 gaming, they have to show something this year. So it's going to be smaller games, maybe, show your environment by phases. I also said that because this is exactly what we're going to do at Live Beyond. Last year we had an alpha and people enjoyed playing the game, but we had to close the game until we launched the second alpha, and people are frustrated because they're like, well, no, we want to play. How do I go to Live Beyond? Why is it closed? Why can't I play? And I think this is what's going to happen. Like, people are very demanding for something you can always have open immediately and that you can play. So expect, I think, a lot of small games this year from the Web3 industry. The AAA Web3 still, I think they will still need a lot of time before something big comes out.
Okay, got it. Thanks for answering that. Also in 23, what are the projects that our audiences should look out for, or something they can really learn from? Or your watch list?
Wow, there is so much. There's so much. So personally, one thing I actually love to follow is more what's happening in specific domestic market. I think people that watch the news about the Web3 and the NFT world very often see things happening around the world, but they forget that things happen in their own domestic country. So what I actually really keep an eye on, so I live between Hong Kong, Indonesia, and Japan myself. Yeah. And so what I'm really trying to keep an eye on is, okay, what's happening in Japan? So in Japan, for example, you have Kawaii NFT community. You have a lot of events around gaming. You have some events around Shibuya. You have a Japan DAO. You also have a Hong Kong DAO. And I'm trying to get involved in these things because these are my communities. I'm on the ground. I can really see the impact that's happening. So if you are in India, if you are in France, if you are in the UK, I would invite people to, hey, look what's out there, like in your market. Try to get involved into something that's a little bit more closer to you before thinking, oh, the ship has sailed and like I will never get a Bored Ape or Clone X or whatever. And so I think for me, that's what I'm excited about. So for example, in Indonesia here, there are some communities launching an NFT project to really try to fix the environment issue that we have here with pollution. And so like I'm trying to help with these kind of things. So that's the stuff I'm most excited about. I think the last couple of years was like, okay, let's get into the industry, let's look at what's in the world. But I think now it's like, let's look at what's closer to home. But after, again, in terms of innovation, I would definitely keep an eye on Nike. I think they're best in class. I would keep an eye on LVMH. I think luxury, LVMH, you still have many brands that haven't started their Web3 journey, and I'm pretty sure they're working on stuff. And in the NFT ecosystem, keep an eye on Yuga Labs always. Azuki is always interesting, especially with what's happening in Asia. And me personally, I like Deadfellas. I think they're very fun, and I think the founder Betty is very inspiring. I also like World of Women, very inspiring mission and vision, and so these are a couple of names I'm keeping an eye on.
Thanks for that. Vishal, do you have anything you want to talk about?
No, I think it was great catching up with you and understanding this space better. And I hope our viewers also can learn more from this. Maybe we would love to have one more conversation with you. Maybe in the next episode, we'll try to set up and deep dive into some particular topic that you might be working on. But I
Yeah,
think
of
it was
course.
really amazing getting an insight. I think one of my key takeaway from this was what not to do in the Web3 space. I think that was the most interesting part of the entire conversation. And yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and I think you guys are also based in a market where I need to learn a lot about what's happening in India, and so I will definitely reach back to you guys to learn more about what's happening in the market there. Yeah, I have a newsletter talking about Asia every week, so I really hope to learn more about your market there.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Sure, Tim. Thank you so much. It was great having you.
Thank
And
you.
this was one of the really interesting and content heavy podcasts that, frankly, we have recorded. So thanks again.
Great. We're just scratching the surface, but more. Thank you so much.
I'm sure we'll have more such podcasts very soon.